Hello and welcome to another edition of Newspaper Headlines Review on Agate Television and Agate Radio 95.5 Star FM Makudi. My name is Fanan Kwano. Thank you for joining us. And then also with me in the studio is Shido Taka. Good morning, Shido, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Fanan. It's good to be back.
We also have with us regular analyst, seasoned journalist, TV Akase. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Fanan. I'm happy to be here again.
The program is also live on our social media handles. We are live on Facebook, Agate Radio TV 1, and YouTube is Agate Television. And then it's also live on Agate Radio 95.5 megahertz in the frequency modulation band. And of course, if you log on to www.agateradiotv.com, you would also catch us live as we are also on Radio Garden. We're starting off this morning with our paper, which is Agate News. I remember Agate News is a bi-weekly tabloid that can be gotten across vendors in town, or you could simply go to our website and then get a copy of the paper there. All right, so this morning, lawyers storm National Assembly, demand take over of Benue, world's poverty capital, according to Peter Obi. And then we have Okute Bonta communities sheath swords, embrace peace. Benue professors advocate self to end herdsmen adopt passengers of commercial bus in Otokbo. Invitation by National Assembly. Benue Assembly loses case at Federal High Court. And then we have other stories. Governor Alia, National Assembly disagree over open grazing prohibition law. And then lastly, we have excuse us. We want to fumigate our farmlands. Benue South youth to herdsmen. All right, those are the stories. Well, we're talking about the banner headlines. The issue, it was all over the media, social and conventional media, how some lawyers stormed the National Assembly, in demand of the takeover of Benue and Zamfara, state assemblies. And I remember we did talk about here on the program, some time ago. And this group was described, there was mixed feelings about the description of this group. Some people were against them, and of course some people were for them. And I saw pictures whereby some people were trying to depict some lawyers that seemed very young, that have mixed feelings altogether. So I would like to throw it over to you, Chief Akase, to tell us, how did you feel about this group?
Well, that's the beauty of democracy. Democracy allows us the opportunities and freedoms to exercise free speech, free association, the right to have a say in how you are governed, and so on. So those people who marched to the National Assembly asking for the takeover of the state assemblies of Benue and Zamfara were only within the ambit, within the ramifications, within the boundaries of their democratic rights and freedoms to demand better governance in the two states. I see nothing wrong with that, because a situation where you have democracy on trial, and I say on trial because the State Assembly represents a state. Those lawmakers, you are denying the rights of the people to be represented in the bastion of democracy is the assembly. That's where the people meet through their representatives. And that's why laws are made by the parliament. So when you suspend those who represent their constituents in the state assembly, it means you are denying the constituents the right to be heard, the right to have a say in the way they are governed. And so this is wrong. So the lawyers who went to Abuja, whether some of them were not lawyers, I have no evidence to prove that. But as far as I'm concerned, they are Nigerians. No matter the demographics, no matter the coloration that whoever, I mean, anyone can give them. They are Nigerians, first of all. They are citizens of this country who have the right to have a say in how they are governed. So their protestation, their protests at the National Assembly asking for something to be, the 13 lawmakers in the Benue State House of Assembly who have been on suspension for some time now, that decision is wrong. And I expect that they be recalled to go and continue with their representation of their constituents.
Yeah, I think the suspension was for an initial period of 2 months, if I heard rightly.
Well,
it's been more than, yes, it's been more than 2 months, so it really calls to question. They should be recalled for their constituencies, if not for themselves. All right. So, Shido will not be dwelling much on the stories there because, you know, it's a bi-weekly paper and most of them have, you know. So let's take the next paper.
All right, so let's move ahead to Punch newspaper this morning. And in the Punch newspaper, we have 54.9 trillion naira budget, federal government, World Bank at odds over funding strategy. Also in the Punch newspaper, why Tinubu will defeat PDP again in 2027. Wiki. Saraki heads 7-man PDP reconciliation panel. We also have in the Punch newspaper this morning, oil drilling to resume in North, says NNPCL. And Bielsa set to immortalize Clark amid tributes from Jonathan Jiri. And still from the Punch newspaper this morning, UK unveils plan to slash annual immigration by 100,000. Lagos APC aspirants protest today over local government primaries. Push to crash drug prices gains a Federal Executive Council approval. And those are top stories from the Punch newspaper this morning. And the banner headline: 54.9 trillion naira budget. Federal government, World Bank at odds over funding strategy. As the World Bank puts it, it is an ambiguous budget.
Yeah. Well, you see, the truth is the World Bank has commended Nigeria for, that in the last decade, the economy improved last year. When you look at the year-on-year progression. Now, it is that it's yet to be seen in the tangible stages of the economy. If you are saying GDP has improved, that's okay. Looking at how the projections were made before this government came in, it looked like the economy was nosediving and that there was no way back for Nigeria. So if you look at it from that perspective, then you can say that yes, perhaps the removal of fuel subsidy, but again, what this has translated to is more money for the federal government, more money for states, more money for local governments. Now, whether that money, that improvement in allocations, in revenues of the 3 tiers of government is translating into tangible results for Nigerians is yet to be seen. Yes, we're also noticing some improvements in the coming on stream of Dangote refinery and the oil, the petroleum products, especially petrol.
Yes.
Later, recently, Dangote reduced it by 10 naira, which is now about 825 naira now per liter, according to Dangote price. That's if you look at that, that's marginal improvement. But Nigerians are looking far beyond that. Nigerians want a situation where the food prices, the prices of different commodities, and if you look at even the electricity, even energy, in general, what are we doing we have a situation where telecoms tariffs are going higher. We have a situation where the energy sector is not improving. Nigerians are finding it difficult. So the commendation of the World Bank has come with a caveat that the projection of Nigeria's, the benchmark of Nigeria's crude, which is put at is it 2.1 barrels per day. Nigeria is selling 21 point something barrels per day. I mean, 2,000 something barrels per day. Nigeria is selling far below that. That's what the World Bank is saying. So the projection, again, the budget of this year was put at 75 barrels, means $75 dollars per barrel. Okay, we are selling at 50. I mean, we are selling at 60. Now, that's what the World Bank is saying, that the budget of Nigeria is ambitious and that it may not be realistic in the end. But you see, our leaders love to put figures out there. And again, the World Bank cautioned that the inflation is still there.
Yes.
We are yet to see improvement in terms of how are you trying to control the rising cost of things, the rising cost of commodities, prices in different sectors. These are issues that Nigeria should concern itself with. But on the whole, the World Bank said in 10 years, there has been marginal improvement in 2024.
Yes.
So let's hope that by the end of 2025, we would have moved a notch higher than where we are. What the World Bank has said doesn't look bleak. I think the World Bank is only cautioning that you have an ambitious budget, which in the end, if you are not able to, if your projections do not in the end agree with the realities on ground, then you would have perhaps deceived Nigerians that this is what you wanted to do, but you ended up doing a different thing.
Oh, okay. So let's move ahead to the story on why Tinubu, the permutations to 2027 continues. And just yesterday we saw a meeting of the PDP. And of course, we saw the, I don't know if the social media tried to play tricks on us, but we saw Wike walking to that meeting. And he's also here, he's saying in the Punch newspaper this morning that why Tinubu will defeat PDP again in 2027. Well,
as you see, we in the media, we love to put headlines there. Sensational headlines to sell our papers, to get traffic to our websites, to our former governors were also invited.
Right.
The immediate past governor of Benue State was also part of that meeting, and others in his class, in his category of former governors, they were there. So Nyesom Wike is a former governor, don't forget.
Right.
So suddenly became on Wike when many others were there. The likes of Saraki were there, former Senate President, former two-time governor, and many others, Samuel Utom, and the rest were all there. So, but you see, Wike is someone when anywhere he goes, attention is on him. So, but regarding what he has said, he was only cautioning. I listened to that program yesterday on live television. He was cautioning that the PDP must put its acts together if it truly wants to put a challenge, a stiff challenge, to give the APC and especially President Tinubu a good run for his money in 2027.
Yes.
And he also warned that if PDP insists on producing a presidential candidate from the northern region, then the PDP can as well say goodbye to the 2027 elections. And that's what some of us also agree, that this time is for the South. The North did 8 years under Buhari. So why are you saying we should still produce a president from the North when the South is yet to complete its tenure of 8 years? There is an unwritten agreement in this country that Nigeria is divided by two major sides. We have the north, we have the south. So for brotherliness, for cohesion, for unity of this country, when the north produces a leader, the leader of this country, the president of this country, after 8 years, let the button shift to the south. And that's what has happened. That's what the G5, which Nyesom Wike, Samuel Otom, and the others belong to. That's their stand in 2023. And that's their stand ahead of 2027. That for you to have the unity that we talk about so much, allow the South to complete its term. And this thing will now rotate back to the North. So Wike and the likes of Otom are saying, don't produce a presidential candidate from the North in 2027 if you want Nigerians to take you seriously. And let me tell you, some of us too, I don't have any influence in the scheme of things.
You're right.
But I have my vote, right, which I am entitled to. And I can also tell you for free that if PDP produces a presidential candidate from the North, I will not cast my vote for that candidate. It's as simple as that.
And
because that's my right. That's my right.
Okay.
Because I have explained here that we have an unwritten agreement in this country that the North produces the president. After 8 years, it goes to the South. So the South now have the 8 years. Then we in the North can justifiably put a claim to that seat and say, this is our turn. This is a Milokon.
Yeah.
At that time, we'll be in 2031, we'll be saying a Milokon. We in the North, it will be our Milokon at that time. So until then, let the South continue. I don't know who becomes the president in 2027, but what I wish should happen is that the person should come from the South.
Okay.
For unity and peace of this country.
That's right.
I was just wondering if Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was at a meeting.
I have he wasn't. I have advised His Excellency Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, a well-respected Nigerian who has contributed enormously to democracy in this country. And it's an appeal that how I wish he will take the back seat and announce to Nigeria that in 2027 he is coming out to support a candidate from the southern part of this country for the PDP. And if Atiku does make that declaration, I tell you, President Tinubu himself will know that competition has come.
Right.
Because Nigerians will see sincerity. They will see that unity of purpose emerging. Imagine an Atiku Abubakar not contesting himself and standing behind another candidate from the southern region, and he and the other heavyweights in the PDP joining forces to support such a candidate. Then the APC will know that they have a game coming up, and they'll be threatened. I mean, their position will be threatened. So that has been my wish and appeal, that His Excellency, the former Vice President, kindly, jettison his ambition. He has tried so many times. Perhaps it is not God's will that he becomes the president of this country. If it were God's will, he has started contesting since 2007. If it God's will, he would have won it by now. He came very close to it on two occasions. He almost defeated Buhari in 2019 and 2023. If not that they made mistakes by themselves, the leadership of the PDP made mistakes at the national level. Atiku was a candidate to beat, and he was going to win that election. But because of some ego, because some people refused to humble themselves, right, and bring everybody together and appeal that, look, mistakes have been made, but let us draw the line and move forward. If that had been done, PDP should be in charge of Nigeria at this time.
Right.
It would have been that easy. It was like a walkover for PDP in 2023 because the APC themselves were not sure. President Buhari at that time, I don't think President Tinubu now was his candidate. So if Tinubu, if PDP had put its act together, for instance, if PDP had supported the emergence of maybe Nyesom Wike, or if they had not allowed Peter Obi to leave the party and he was given the ticket in 2023, if Wike had got that ticket, he would have defeated Tinubu. If Peter Obi had got the ticket, he would have defeated Tinubu. It would have been that simple. Because Tinubu was not the top candidate as far as 2023 was concerned. It was when, and especially when he came up with that Muslim ticket, many Nigerians were not happy. But the PDP failed to put its acts together at the national level, and that led to the defeat of the party.
All right. We look forward to 2027 then. Now let's touch ground on the story before we move away from the Punch newspaper, and that's moving us to other parts of the world. We have in UK plans to slash annual immigration by 100,000. Now I'm concerned about the story because it looks like every country is now toeing the path of watching what and who gets into our country. Do you think so?
Yes, I think so, and I think it's the right thing to do. It is so unfortunate that in Nigeria we allow foreigners to come in. And the foreigners, according to reports, even our governor in Benue State here said those who are attacking our people are foreigners. I have no reason to agree or to disagree because the security reports he has, I don't have. But whether that is true or not, we know that there are some mercenaries who, like even in the northeast. So what has happened to our borders? Are they that porous that people just walk in like a straw in the park and come into this country and begin to cause havoc everywhere? So if any country is taking steps to check its borders, to police its borders and stop illegal immigration, then that's what should be. What makes a country what it is that territorial integrity, all right?
Right.
That territorial independence, that your borders are for you, for your citizens. And if anyone is to cross into the borders of your country, that person needs to be identified and he needs to come in legally. He needs to come in with documents. He should be known that this is why you are coming to Nigeria. Is either you are coming for business or you are on an official assignment or whatever. But when people come in, when people smuggle themselves into your country and you don't know their mission, then you have problems. So I agree, I support the American government under President Trump. I support any other country which is taking steps to protect its borders from immigrants, illegal immigrants. It's quite commendable.
Okay, so if not because of time, I was going to ask you some of the practical.
It's very simple. The federal government should empower our immigration services and other security agencies. Empower the immigration service. If they need, governance has what is called peer review mechanism. Nigeria is not an isolated country. Nigeria has borders with other countries. Why not? And luckily we have ECOWAS. So why not network with other countries to check your borders? Empower the immigration service. Give them modern gadgets. Put CCTV cameras at our borders, especially the flash points. If you know that the border between Cameroon and Nigeria is to come in and cause problems at in Kwande and other places, why don't you checkmate that access by arrested? That's what should be. It is something that should be done. Because the moment Libya collapsed, a lot of terrorists began to move into other African countries and cause problems. So Nigeria overlooked, we took it for granted. And that's why Governor Tom Ben was always talking about it, asking the government of President Buhari to do better and sit up and checkmate our borders and stop the those terrorists from coming in to cause problems. So I am for it, and much more needs to be done. We have to stop paying lip service to issues of security, because if you do not pay attention to security, even the Aso Rock Villa will not be safe.
No one will be safe.
Because you can't predict what the invaders will bring. So it is something that should be given all attention, and the federal government should, those are areas they should be deploying money, deploy a lot of funds in tackling insecurity in this country. And no one will complain that you are spending too much. The budget of Nigeria should be so heavy on security and education. There's two areas: security, education, and if you want to add, health. If you want to add security, education, and health. But number one, security. Because if there's no security, no matter how many industries you operate, security number two, security number three.
All right.
Then other things will follow.
Okay, in terms of the role of subnational government, I think days ago I read about Governor Obasani of Kaduna State, how he said that every resident in Kaduna State must be registered with it has its state identity commission that is registering every resident. And I looked at that and I said, wow, this is awesome. It's going to.
But that is if it is not manipulated. Anytime you speak about policies in this country, always remember the word manipulation. Because the same people who corrupt other sectors, you are not going to bring angels from heaven to come and run those policies. Look at what has happened over the decades in Nigeria's population census. When it is time for census, you go to some places, even trees are counted. Even trees and goats are enumerated. Oh my God. So we just have to be sincere in all that we do. So commendable step by the governor of Kaduna State. But I just hope and pray that those who will be charged with the responsibility of doing the head count and the registration of Kaduna citizens, Kaduna indigents, Kaduna people, will be sincere about it, will be transparent about it, so that the state will know exactly its population. And that helps in development, because when you know how many people you have, it helps for planning.
No.
You will know that, okay, this local government has so many people, this one has so many, this one has more women, this one has more men, this has youth, and that helps in planning for development.
All right, this is where we take a short break, and when we're back, we'll look at more papers.
Committed to someone, then you don't have to be faithful to that person.
When you're talking about fidelity and trust, you could be faithful, you could be loyal, and if your partner feels or perceives you are not, does that mean you are not?
Appearance could make someone not be faithful. Sometimes you have a partner that don't really look at the needs, your needs. I'm talking about the financial aspect. Doesn't look at your needs, and then there's someone that sees needs.
The lady in you is screaming, needs. And you feel like with communication, we can solve the issues of infidelity?
Yes, with communication, I know that if you are communicating, you won't see need to talk to someone. Then you won't cheat on me. I want to talk to you and just you. I don't want you to talk to multiple people.
Some people, they talk well. That's still a cheat. So.
Trust me. So.
Okay, all right. But you feel like...
Yes. Most times when infidelity sets in a relationship is when people are not talking.
In every relationship, somebody must be taking more pain. Somebody must
really?
do more sacrifices. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It can't be even.
It can't be even.
It's difficult.
Maybe this is something we should talk about next time. the imbalance in
In
relationships.
relationships.
Let's now go to what we were talking about, which is are there justifiable reasons why?
No joy.
Okay, Enes, you have your say.
There's no justifiable
Okay.
reason.
Yeah.
For me, there is.
Okay.
I can justify. You're not talking to me. That's why I'm talking to someone else.
The true test of faithfulness is not when you are with your partner alone. It's, okay, I love tall ladies. To see if I'm faithful is to put me in the midst of tall ladies and see my reaction. If there is no test, you can't know for sure. You are jealous naturally. You have to work on your jealousy. So because you're a female, your partner should not talk to any lady. Once he's smiling, there's something going on. No,
Then something is not right. Right?
Build trust. Let me know that you're smiling, but then I'm confident that this smile is just smile.
For people who are jealous, there's nothing like trust.
Okay, well, in this case, I will even ask Stephanie, will you even allow your partner to be friends with the opposite sex?
I want fidelity 100%.
Welcome back. This is ST Agate Television and Agate Radio, and the program is a newspaper headlines review. I'm Fanin Kwan with Shido Taka and David Akase. All right, so we are now going to the next paper, which is The Guardian. The Guardian, and then the banner headline here says, World Bank admits Nigeria's economic progress, says prices remain high. And then there is a picture there with a breakdown of the overview. Okay, to other stories, freight forwarders write Tinubu as cartels sell call-up code for 400,000 naira. US-China agreed to roll back tariffs for 90 days. Edo governor seeks arrest of new black movement president Eshe Kako. And then also we have UTME JAMB to address technical issues as 8,391 candidates threaten class action. Related to that, WAEC candidates anxious as IPOB declares sit at home on May 30 in Southeast. Suspension, that was a kicker. Court hears contempt. Other applications in Natasha's suit today. We have 2027 amid pushback, zoning complaints, others. PDP explores reconciliation. NNPCL to resume oil drilling in North as production threatens 2025 budget. Federal government to overhaul underperforming discos, that's distribution companies, amid lingering IBEDC takeover. And lastly, Lagos Labour Party suspends chair, dissolves ward executives as Abure faction tackles Oti. Alright, we've already talked about the banner headline. So now UTME JAMB to address technical issues as over 8,000 candidates threaten class action. Alright, candidates had threatened, to take JAMB to court. They said there were technical glitches. There were some questions were incomplete, and all of this led to the mass failure, that we have been talking about, and they said they were going to court. So that's where we are now.
I'm wondering how and where the applicants met and agreed to. But in the digital world, anything is possible. Perhaps they did a poll or something, gathered virtually, and asked the lawyer to file a suit against JAMB. So also that's in their line of rights and freedoms. Yes, we talked about this issue of the last UTME here, that it appears something actually went wrong with it's either the examination or the performance is so poor this year, and it calls for concern whether it was a glitch in the JAM systems that caused that mass failure of over 70% of the applicants getting below 200 scores. You hardly hear that kind of thing. In recent years, because of the avalanche of past question papers, applicants have been reading a lot of past question papers, and many of those questions keep coming up in the exams. If you take like 5 years question papers of 5 years in one subject and put together, you will be surprised that one question has appeared in almost all of them, and many more questions. So passing the UTME these days has become a bit easier for applicants than what happened in the 80s, in the 90s and early 2000s. So it was a shock to me to find that more than 60% of the applicants didn't get the cutoff point in many courses across the universities. So if the applicants are aggrieved and want to go to court to seek redress, that is their freedom of expression, and no one should bash them for seeking to get interpretation of the court.
I think
what just happened. So,
according to Punch, it says it's education advocate Alex Onyia that spoke on their behalf. So according to him, the over 8,000 affected students had submitted formal complaints calling on JAMB to release detailed marking sheets and allow candidates to verify their scores to see that indeed they underperformed.
Okay, so perhaps that is from those petitions that the legal counsel has decided to pick those petitions. You know, there are some lawyers who volunteer some of these things because they fight injustice. So when they find out that there is an injustice somewhere to either one person or a group, they volunteer to take that matter up. And even if you do not give them a brief, they will go to court and seek redress on behalf of the victims. So perhaps it is from there that the lawyer got his brief and decided to go to court. So good a thing. If he succeeds, JAMB, the court may order JAMB to retake that exam, to ask those candidates to retake the examination or whatever. There must be a way out. But on the other hand, if it is found out that those candidates actually failed the examinations, the marking scheme is there. These days is computer based. So the system already has the answers preloaded, and you put in your answers. If they do not match with the answers that are there, then it is obvious to see. So I don't think it will take even forensic experts to unravel what actually happened. It's just if the court requests or orders JAMB to do verification of the process, then of course the team of lawyers, the lawyer and others who have gone to court, will also have their own experts there to be on the table to verify that the exams actually took place and that these candidates truly failed to get the scores, the minimum scores for getting admission into universities.
I think JAMB is already taking one step ahead, because the Nigeria Tribune this morning reports that JAMB engages IT experts to review 2025 UTME. So it looks like it's already jumping the gun.
Okay, fine. If they do, that's okay. But to be sincere, the performance of the applicants this year was really shocking, because you would expect that performances in JAMB as the years go by will be improving, because as I have explained, the past question papers have been helping applicants to perform better. For those who are serious, it's easier these days. In those days, some of us didn't have the opportunity of getting familiar questions to read before you go into write JAMB. But these days, with the digital world now, things are even easier. And I think JAMB even has those past questions on their portal. So it's quite better now, and with the presence, the advent of Google and other search engines, it's easier for you to even ask questions, and then you get answers instantly on questions you see in the past examination booklets. So I think we should be having better performances in UTME.
Yes, that's a very important call, Chief, because it seems our brothers, our sisters, our children aren't taking the advantage of this technology that we have around us. For instance, you take a syllabus of a particular subject and you upload to stuff like maybe Meta AI on WhatsApp or Facebook or ChatGPT. They generate real-time questions for you, provide answers which you could study ahead of the examination, and then you have an edge over it. So I think
when this comes in relation to the fact that you'll be distracted by the social media every day, then I think it's either you choose one or the other. It looks like they are more distracted than they are ready to use what you are just
I agree with you, Shido. That's why we talked about that issue here, that the advent of digitization should be utilized by the current generation, which is dominated by those who are in school now, the Gen Z.
Special kind of people.
Yes, they are Gen Alpha are fast coming up, but now the Gen Z are in charge. So, and they were born during the digital era. It is their baby. They should utilize it positively. Utilize it in a way that you gain more knowledge. Not just going there to watch pornography or to watch other obscene stuff on I don't want to call the platforms now before anyone
goes to find
running down their business. So they should take advantage of the digital era, which is their own, and be ahead. I talked about Google Scholar here the other day. For those who are in the universities,
sure.
If you go to Google Scholar and you put in perhaps the name of a prominent lecturer in the university, let me give an example of Professor Mbandagajibo, my lecturer in political science, and you put his name there in Google Scholar, for instance, Google Scholar will give you all the books and articles published by Mbandagajibo. So it's for you to just pick the one you want. But of course, you are going to, by going there, you are already paying some money by using your data to go there. All right, and some of the books you are asked to download. And when you download, you just pay a minimal fee. And you have that material to read. You may not have the hard copy of that book, but you go to Google Scholar, you have it. Put the name of any lecturer there. Put Professor Ajende. Put the likes of many of them. I'm giving examples of BSU because that's our university. Put their names there in Google Scholar and you get all their publications. So students should take advantage of these things, which they may not know. You know, so it's all theirs. The Gen Z have no reason to fail examinations in this era. There is enough information available to them.
All right, closely related to that, were candidates anxious as IPOB declares sit at home on May 30 in Southeast. You know, this has been lingering and it's now taking a toll on education, which I think is, I don't know, if you ask me, and I would say it's not proper enough because this is a setback all the same.
Yes.
All right, Shido,
let's move to Nigerian Tribune this morning. And the banner headline still on the story on World Bank: Nigeria's economy needs to generate better jobs, reduce poverty. Comments: Nigeria's growth trajectory, says economy recorded a fastest growth in about a decade in 2024. Wants pace of growth to accelerate further and projects inflation to fall to average of 22.1% in 2025. And still from Nigerian Tribune this morning, Unijust Professor Piwuna succeeds Oshodeke as ASU president. UK ends overseas social care visas, a major immigration shakeup. Tax reform bills, reps set up conference committee to harmonize with Senate. And still from Nigeria Tribune, JAMB engages IT experts to review 2025 UTME. Wabara declares PDP revival as BOT inaugurates new members. Federal government to overhaul city power generation better. The federal government is planning to have a comprehensive assessment of systemic challenges plaguing the discourse, including governance gaps, infrastructure deficits, and commercial inefficiencies. Is this the way to go?
Yes, I agree because you see in reforms,
Yes.
you don't just look at it in a short term. You reform in a long term, because what has happened to Nigeria over the years is that we're always in a hurry to get quick results. We go for quick wins rather than long wins. Other countries plan 20, 30 years ahead. And that's you can see our attitude in even tree planting.
Yeah.
Let me give that practical example. People don't want to plant trees because they say, by the time this tree grows and is ready to give me shield to produce, I might have passed away. But other people will plant trees knowing that even if I do not sit under the shield of this tree, my children will sit under the shield of that tree. That is long-term planning. And what has happened to our economy over the years is short-term planning. Every government that comes in wants to plan short-term and gets results and be applauded as, oh, you have done well, Mr. President, Mr. Governor, you have done well. This is the best thing that has happened to Benue State. This is the best thing that has happened to Nigeria. So I agree that what needs to be done should be done. It doesn't matter how long it takes. If we get the good results at the end of the day, it is better for us. So I am an advocate of long-term planning. And reforms, sometimes reforms can be a bit painful. But when you endure them for a while, then the result in the end will be better.
No, right. And of course, the federal government says that no discourse will say that we are not interested because they are going to be compelled to do it. On the other side, the discourse are saying that we don't want the politics of it. We just want the business.
Yes,
yes.
You see, when the discourse were given electricity to run way back in, I think, 2013, right. 2012, 2013, by the Jonathan administration, some of us faulted the manner it was done because of businesses, a group of individuals. And these were friends of government. Some of them were people in government who went through sureties to get the discourse. So now, if you want to reform the sector, that's the point you should start from. Get those who are professionals, who are experts in that field, who are investors in electricity, in the power business, to come in. And you can encourage foreign investors to come in. We have had GSM companies here. How many of them are owned by Nigerians? Yet we are enjoying their services. It's not only Globacom that we have that is indigenous. The rest are not based here. Their headquarters are not in Nigeria. Yet we are enjoying their services, and there is competition. So the issue of this electricity thing, discourse this, until we get it done the right way. And those who should be given the sector to man should be given the sector to manage. When I say man, ladies will always complain. They should be given the business to manage because that is their area of specialization. They can be foreign companies. But as far as there is competition, then you are better for it.
All right, that would be the best point to end the program for today. And thank you very much for staying tuned. And I appreciate you, Chief Tevye Akase, for
You
finding
mentioned the under 20 team of Nigeria defeated Senegal last.
Sure. Flying Eagles, the dress Senegal quality for World Cup
of the the Africa junior team. I mean Africa under 20 Cup, Nations Cup, and they are now in the semi-finals. Congratulations to the Flying Eagles of Nigeria, and they have also booked a place in the next FIFA under 20 World Cup. Kudos to the boys.
Thank you very much, Chief Tevye Akase, for your analysis.
It's my pleasure.
Shido Taka, thank you very much.
Thank you, Fana.
All right, my name is Fanen Kwanon, so I'll be off for now. Stay tuned and join us next week, Tuesday, for another interesting edition of the program.